Senator Beavers, we appreciate your patience with us last week, and we apologize that we were not able to get to your bills. And you've seen that I've fended off many requests to try not to bring you up today, but you are now recognized for the next selection of bills, starting with number 18, Senate Bill 1607.
Okay. I think most of you are familiar with a form of this bill from last year, but Senate Bill 1607 expands the Tennessee Firearms Freedom Act, which we passed in actually 2009. It is on the books right now. This expands it to include protections for Tennesseans against possible encroachments on the right to keep and bear arms. The bill would prohibit any schemes to implement gun control, restrict access to firearms, accessories, or other ammunition, and stop any taxation or other schemes to make firearms ownership too expensive for the average person. As the U.S. Constitution does not allow the federal government to have any role in the regulation of firearms that do not cross state lines, the bill asserts the state's rightful power to exempt all firearms in the state of Tennessee from federal regulation. Senate Bill 1607 further prohibits any state or local officials from assisting in any federal enforcement actions contrary to the provisions of the bill, and this would come into play under anti-commandeering Supreme Court case Prince versus U.S. It attempts to enforce a federal gun control action under this bill, and it provides for a Class A misdemeanor penalty on first offense with a Class C felony for subsequent offenses. Prosecution and enforcement of the bill is the responsibility of not only the state attorney general, but also each district attorney general. Any Tennessean whose rights are violated in a federal enforcement action may seek relief under a civil action with the costs paid by the state. As I said, we talked about this last year. The Bill of Rights was written to further restrict the federal government so that even when it is exercising legitimate powers, there are certain well-delineated lines that it cannot cross. The Second Amendment ensures that one of these lines includes prohibiting the federal government from imposing any restrictions on the right of citizens to keep and bear arms. And I'll quote Marbury versus Madison, all laws which are repugnant to the Constitution are null and void. We don't believe that with the Second Amendment in place under the Constitution that the federal government can put any restrictions on our firearms.
Thank you. You've heard, let's see, there's a motion on the bill from Senator Campfield. Is there a second? Seconded by Senator Bell, and there are no amendments. Senator Beavers, is that correct?
No amendments.
Okay. Is there further discussion of the bill? Senator Finney, you're recognized.
I was just curious how it's different from last year's bill.
Senator Beavers.
We went into the 2009 Firearms Freedom Act and included ammunition and everything that was included in the 2009 Act. If you remember, the 2009 Act said that the federal government had no say over guns, ammunition, accessories that were manufactured in the state of Tennessee. And we expanded that to include all guns, ammunition, accessories, and so forth that are in the state of Tennessee now.
Thank you, Senator Beavers. And as you recall, I supported the 2009 Act, which was arguably unconstitutional by some, including some of those in the federal government. But I felt that it was necessary that we state that we do have authority to regulate firearms within the state of Tennessee, and that was my reasoning for supporting that one, despite those opinions to the contrary. However, last year we did receive an opinion from the Attorney General that the bill last year was unconstitutional, and I did not support that one. This year we've received a further Attorney General opinion stating that this bill is unconstitutional as well, and I would just say for the record that I also don't support this one because this bill, as opposed to last year's bill, goes even further and does not declare that the federal laws have to be in any way, shape, or form unconstitutional that we are preempting.
And I guess my answer to that is that per the U.S. Constitution Supremacy Clause, only laws that are made in pursuance of the Constitution are constitutional. as any law pertaining to the regulation of firearms is outside the powers delegated to the federal government and the Constitution, I believe that we are well within our rights in passing this legislation.
Even under the spending clause?
I'm sorry?
Even under the spending clause?
Yes.
Okay. 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 Is there further discussion?
And I think that there are Supreme Court cases that on anti-commandeering that would, say that those powers go to the states to regulate our firearms. There have been some sheriffs that have objected to having to enforce federal laws and have actually won their case in the Supreme Court.
And I support those anti-commandeering laws. Is there further discussion? Seeing none, then the question is put. The motion is to the Calendar Committee on Senate Bill 1607. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll.
Senator Bell. Votes aye, Senator Cantfield. Votes aye, Senator Finney. Votes no, Senator Ford. Abstains, Senator Gardenhire. Senator Green. Votes aye, Senator Overbey. Votes no, Senator Stevens. Votes no, Chairman Kelsey.
No.
Votes no, Mr. Chairman. 3 ayes, 4 nays, and 1 abstention.
3 ayes, 4 noes, and 1 abstention. That bill fails.